Hello again, this is Brian Copeland talking. Welcome to another edition of Copeland's Corner. As always, a very distinguished panel of comics joining me this week. We got two of our regulars here. Johnny Steele is with us. Don Reed, it's been a while. Good to have you back, Don. And for the very first time, the Virgin, I'm going to call you the Virgin. You're the Virgin on the podcast today. Ant is with us, man. Good to have you. It's a pleasure.
So good to be here. God, what a thrill.
All right, so lots to talk about, so let's just jump into it. Trump's takeover of D.C. With the military, with the National Guard, 800 guardsmen have been called up. 200 are on the streets at any given time. He has got the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, ICE, and the U.S. Park Police reassigned under the direction of the U.S. Marshal's Office and the Attorney General, Pam. I don't remember where I put the Epstein files that were on my desk, Bondi. And he claims it's because of all of the violent crime in D.C. And you look at the stats and violent crimes down by 30%. And dropping.
Loosely translated, what it means is there's too many black and brown people. So we're going to do something about it. You know, where was he on January 6th with calling in all these people during the insurrection? That really wasn't an insurrection. Where was he then? Where was this method of thinking then?
Well, the other part of it too.
White people, by the way.
You know, that's fine. You know, I never really thought about that, but it was. I mean, is there? Have you seen? We've all seen hundreds of people. We've seen hundreds of different shots of January 6th. I can't. Hey, do you remember seeing anybody black?
You ever see an Asian person on January 6th? I didn't see a black person, a brown person. Actually, I did. The Proud Boys leader, Brown. Right.
He was
that one. I don't even understand. I'm like, dude, aren't you Mexican? Like, you should. It's like that Trump burger place where the guy's being deported. I was like, yes.
No, I didn't hear this story.
Here's a move, though.
There's a guy that opened up a Trump burger place. He's being deported.
Here's the move, though. This latest move, I think others noted as well, that they deployed them first to this very upscale area. But I think that's just a front, a chess move to say, now let's go, because they're not terrorizing anybody there. They're just walking down the street. That's an excuse to go to black and brown communities and act out and say, oh, no, they push back. But we already, as you see, we went to the upscale area first. That's all a ploy. So they could go to these black and brown communities and overreach and go too far.
It also plays into there's a MAGA, I want to say mentality, thought process, myth that communities and cities that are led by African-American governments are dangerous and violent. And that's why he's talking about next going into Baltimore or going into Oakland. I dare them.
Wait, well, what's the official term that MAGA call? Oh, shithole. That's the term. What was the official term? That was it.
Johnny, who lives in Berkeley, and I got to mention this, by the way, that Berkeley was just named the best, safest place in America to live.
I think healthiest or something.
Is that what it was? Was it healthier? It was something at the top in Berkeley.
Yeah,
you know, they're so high in Berkeley, they forget to commit crime. That's the only reason.
I think when you put the nose rings in, it gets your immune system going, looking for bacteria, and so you're stronger. Well, I would just say, because this is what I studied in college, and I still study it, and I love it. And when you get one piece of information, you've got no information. And so, okay, 30% decrease in crime. From when? I mean, crime has been really bad in D.C. Generally, the top 4 to 10 murder per capita cities in America. So, yeah, we all know 2000, 2001 were very, very high crime rates. So I haven't had time to look over all the data and everything, but it's important to know, you know, where do they stand?
Well, I'll tell you when it is, Johnny. It was that 30% number is from 2023. And so far, this number for the first 2 quarters of 2025, which are the most recent numbers that are available, it's down yet another 23%.
Sure. So down from the worst crime years in decades isn't exactly a great achievement, I'm saying. So it's still, I would imagine, they're on par, I would still say, to be in the top 5 or 10 per capita murder rate cities in America. And
But Johnny, that doesn't justify calling the military on civilians.
If the police department is incapable of handling the problem, of course it does. There was a time in Oakland in 2021 where it was an hour. If someone was breaking in your house and you called them, it was an hour.
Yeah.
Pardon me, but if I were in Oakland at that time, I would love the military. Now, I'm not saying DC is there. And just another note, we like to make fun of the rich people. When you look at these homicide rates, who's dying? Who's dying from gunshots in DC?
You'll tell us.
Who? It's black folks. Disproportionately black folks.
Okay,
so
but Johnny,
I just find it odd. I find it odd when left-wing, pro, whatever, black folks, Black Lives Matter folks are okay with the homicide rate. And if the police department's incapable, and I think there was something about their lab of being not up to par and shut down.
There's still no grounds whatsoever to bring in the military.
So is there a place ever where the crime rate is high?
Back up. But bottom line here is, first of all, what's going on in D.C., it's nowhere close enough. It's nowhere near some of the worst murder rates that you've seen in this country. And what you're talking about in Oakland 2021 was absolutely right. I saw a car accident, an injury accident, and called around 2021 in Oakland on a major street next to Lake Merritt, and called 911 and couldn't get through for over an hour. So that's how, I can understand that. Murders were crazy, but that's not how it is then, how it is now, and it's also not how it is in D.C. And even then, this was never done. This is unprecedented. Well, this is a loophole in a law that has rarely been used. And so, again, if ever, and so if that's the case, I understand what it is that you're saying, Johnny. I get what it is that you're saying.
I don't understand it because, Johnny, what you're saying is, well, a 23% decrease is not good, is what you're saying. I don't understand.
I'm saying
based on what? Based on crime. Well, I mean, to me, a decrease is better than an increase.
Sure. It's almost like saying we had floodwaters that covered our houses. Now the floodwaters are only at our waist. Isn't everything hunky-dory and we don't need any more help? That's ridiculous.
They're receding. Yeah, that's better than the floods rising.
It's better than it was. And here's another thing. Go look it up if you have your computer in front of you. There's some concern, and this has happened a lot. These elected officials, Trump and all of them, are trying to save their jobs and trying to continue to stay in office and so forth. You can reclassify laws. You can have underreporting of crimes. So I'm just saying exactly whatever the data is coming out, from whom it's coming out is important. That it's down over a few years.
These are government numbers. These are government numbers, Johnny. Yeah, these are not numbers. These are not some liberal paper that's making this up.
No, but I'm
giving you government numbers.
Those numbers could be achieved a number of different ways, and they could be achieved by. This happened during the Stop Asian Hate thing, and they were reporting that crimes against Asian people had gone up. Crimes against everybody had gone up, and they also noted that some of these crimes were things that hadn't been reported. If somebody rides by in a car and yells something at some Asian couple and they report it, now that's a violent crime to some degree, and that went on.
Call the National Guard in.
Because by your rationale,
wait, part out loud.
But your Johnny, hang on. But your rationale then that the National Guard should be allowed in every city in America. The president.
I would say that any city whose police force has a homicide rate in the top 5 or 8% and cannot seem to get that number down very much might want.
But they are getting it down.
They are getting it down, and they have gotten it down.
What? But they're still in the top 5 or 8.
The biggest hole in your argument. Hold on. But Johnny, the biggest hole in your argument is why didn't he bring in the National Guard on January 6th?
I don't know what he was doing in January.
I know what he was doing. He was watching on TV. Is what he was doing.
There was violence happening. People were killed. But
you're talking about two different things. You're talking about two different things. You're talking about an event that happened one afternoon, and you're talking about an event that's been going on for 20 years, which is
at the very heart of our democracy.
High crime rate in our nation's capital. Those are you're comparing apples and oranges to a certain degree. This is something.
No. Percentages. Well, let me just say this. Do you know that the percentages we're talking about include the violent crime from the January 6th insurrection?
Sure,
you do know that.
Yeah, this is a 1 event that went on for a few hours. We're talking about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, year after year after year.
1 hour. It was planned for months in advance.
Okay. So no, let's note this. Do we want a a series of unfortunate crimes and negative things to go down? Or do we want the actual capital and our democracy attacked in 1 hour?
Once again, you're
No. One has a very strong impact on our way of living, and the other is crime that may happen. Note also that, as we say, the top 5 cities having murder rates and crime, if they're going down, there's still going to be a top 5, even as it goes down.
I'm just going to correct you on one thing, Don, respectfully. Sure. It won't affect Johnny or me. It'll only affect you and Brian because you're black. It's not going to affect us.
Well, not us. We live in the white suburbs. It won't affect us.
Pissing me off is that because you're black and you're brown, this will disproportionately affect your lives. I already see it happening now. I see it happening now.
But who do you think is dying when you look at murder rates in this? Me?
Well, okay.
No, who's dying are black folk.
Okay, now here's the wait, one second. Here is my answer to that argument, Johnny. What supposedly triggered this, according to Trump himself, is that one of Elon Musk's interns, who happens to be white, got carjacked. And that is the rationale that he used for claim. And carjackings, again, are down by 20 to 30%, by the way, too. But this is not because of black and brown people getting killed. This is because a white kid, this is what but the whole bottom thing is this is all horse shit. This is all yet another Jeffrey Epstein distraction. He's tried everything he can to get it off the front page. Now we're talking about him taking over DC. And if things are so bad, why is it again that it's only cities that are run by black mayors that he is deciding to do this in? There was no reason in Los Angeles for him to deploy the National Guard. None. You can't. DC. I mean,
Karen Bass. Hates her. And what color is she? I think Don said it. It's like if you're a black or a brown mayor, be prepared to be invaded.
Got real quiet, didn't it?
Well, where are you going to go with it? We're so far off the point. Keep in mind. I know I seem right wing, but on the Brian Copeland show, if you're right of Che Guevara, you're a fascist. But I have not encountered one centrist on this show, let alone one right winger, in the 300 times I've done it.
I consider myself a centrist.
It's the Mao comedy hour.
I have a concealed carry permit. I own an AR-15 and a Glock 9.
Hey, thanks for doing the show, Ant. Good having you, man. Good to meet you.
Just to be clear, I
believe it or not, I'm centrist. By the way, believe it or not, there are plenty of issues. In fact, if you read W. Kamau Bell's book, he wrote about me. I found out in his book. And he called me a conservative.
Yeah.
He called Kamau, who I've known for years. Kamau in his book calls me, and I had to call him. What the hell are you talking about? So again,
I won't tell you some of the things I've been called in books.
I'm a vegan from Berkeley who rescues animals, and on this show, I'm always the right wingiest guy here. Just to put it in perspective. I'm vegan from Berkeley. Which one of you are vegans? Which one of you are fostering dogs? Which one of you rescue animals? I didn't hear.
I don't think that you're right-wingy, Johnny, at all. I do think, though, that...
I'm just saying, as far as everyone else on the show.
Well, but you know what? We wouldn't have lively discussion if we didn't have that.
No, we need you.
So let me clarify real quickly. I think Trump is a nut, and I think most of what he does is for show. Mm-hmm. But I think the left is always sort of on the side of, and not all think, they seem always to be against police forces, against law enforcement, against hiring of more police, against police going downtown and saying, hey, stop smashing the windows and breaking crap. This isn't the proper way to do things. And I don't think that is a political position that's going to win elections.
See, but that's a complete distortion. Because hold on. That's the distortion that the right uses in order to justify crap like what's going on now. There is nobody I know who says it's okay to break windows. There's nobody I know who says it's okay to loot stores or to walk out of a store with a basket full of groceries you didn't pay for. Nobody is in favor of the crap.
Sure.
Wait, let me finish. And in terms of police, And in terms of police and in terms of policing, no, it's not that people are opposed to it. It's that people are opposed to police brutality, police targeting of people based upon race, people getting shot and killed who are holding a phone just because they happen to be brown. There's a difference between that and saying we want no police. And I say that as someone who sat on a citizens police review board.
Am I wrong or am I right? Did the citizens of California vote to allow people to go into stores and walk out with $900 and some worth of merchandise?
That's not what they voted for. That's what made it. Hang on a second.
Not a felony.
Made
it a misdemeanor.
But the deal is what you mischaracterizing it. What people voted for was to make it so that you're right, that it was not a felony if it was under $1,000. They didn't vote if you steal $999, nothing happens to you. What
because
they voted for
in a three-strike state, Johnny, walking out with $1,000 of merchandise will put you in jail forever if it's your third strike.
Or
that
even
not fair to right-wing, left to anybody.
Or the other thing is, does it make sense for you as a taxpayer? And I know you're a taxpayer. You work your ass off in addition to performing in your construction businesses and everything else. Do you want to spend $30,000 a year to put a guy in prison because he stole $1,000 worth of stuff from Safeway? And of course, you shouldn't be able to do that and just walk out with it. But what happened is that once people saw the ramifications of it, they course corrected. The same as with 3 strikes. 3 strikes, you had a guy go to prison for stealing a piece of pizza, he got life. Yeah. And therefore they course corrected, and it needed to be a serious third felony. But what people were voting for was not saying you can steal $999 worth of stuff and you're free. No, what they were saying is that you shouldn't have to go to prison for years that we got to pay for because you stole $1,000.
So what is the deterrent if you can go into stores and walk out with $900 and some worth of stuff, and the cops aren't going to come because it's a misdemeanor?
Right.
What is the deterrent?
Johnny, ever since it passed, have store thefts gone up? What's the stats on that?
That's been repealed, more or less.
Well, it hasn't been repealed.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't been repealed.
Yeah, we voted in the last election to be a little more. I don't know exactly what proposition it was, but a little more to make it a little more. The laws were a little more strict.
No, here's what happened.
It's all covered with
here's what happened, Johnny. What happened was when I go to buy this at the store now, I have to call a clerk to unlock a plastic gate in order for me to get the water. That is how they have dealt with it. When I need deodorant, I gotta wait and for somebody to come. I gotta ring a bell for somebody to come.
Everybody in the store knows your ass stinks because you're waiting on deodorant.
That's directly linked to items that the homeless want. Having been homeless myself, I know that goal is to lock away hygiene items because the homeless will take them as quickly as they can. But
there was more than that, Don. There was more than that. There were rings. There were organized rings.
Organized crime. They were fencing this stuff in warehouses to organize crime.
But they were stealing more than $900 worth of merchandise.
Then they were selling it over
Didn't even
eBay.
Apply to them.
Yeah. So that was
the organized rings.
Another additive. Here's the thing. There's so much money, so many billions being made by these organizations. They insured for those amount of money. We don't say it's a plus. I'm not rooting it on, but I know it doesn't mean increase military position in the long run because some things that are financially covered. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I will ask Johnny this. I'm going to ask you this, Johnny. Do you think that calling in the National Guard in Los Angeles and 500 Marines in Los Angeles was justified?
Well, I guess I could ask a counter question. How long was the rioting and the smashing and everything else going to go on before anybody was going to do anything? Because the mayor of LA and the LA Police Department were not going to do anything about it. They were standing by watching.
That's not true. That's
not
true.
It went on for days and days.
Johnny, you just literally got done saying that we hate the police. They didn't send the police in to deal with it because of the safety of the officers. They put the safety of the officers first, which is what, because I lived literally blocks away from Fairfax Avenue where they were burning and looting all of the businesses, but they targeted Supreme. They targeted, the higher ed stores. But in order to protect the police officers, they said, hold off, let the steam blow off first before they went in.
The last situation I've seen where they should have done that, where they should have called in the National Guard, and this is going back years. Only situation I can personally think of, and I'm not going to say George Floyd stuff either, was Rodney King. Yeah. Rodney King, the National Guard and the Marines and all that, that would have been justified. Absolutely, that would have been justified. D.C. ain't it. What's happened in L.A. earlier this year, that ain't it.
Well, there's also another factor we're not talking about in L.A., and the factor is that there were 8, 10, 12 million people that came over the border undocumented in the 4 years Biden was in office. And you can go listen to people who were, in his cabinet and others who said they couldn't get him to focus on it. It wasn't a priority. And so it's a national police matter, for heaven's sake. That's what ICE does. And that's what National Guard is supposed to do.
No, Johnny. That's what ICE is supposed to.
Immigration, customs enforcement.
Johnny, that's what ICE is supposed to do, yes. But what ICE is not supposed to do is take people who are here legally and are going to their legally mandated court hearings, their mandated check-ins that they have gone to every 6 months or 8 months for the 10 years they've been here, only to find themselves arrested put on a plane, and sent to a country that is not even their country of origin. There are people.
I would argue that is a tiny minority. When you let 14 or 12 million people over the border and they're running all over the California, you're going to end up when you come in with not everybody who's being dragged out, and most of those have been fighting back. And so,
may I just say this? I just got back from a week in Mexico because I self-deported. And when I was ready to come home, I just showed my passport. They had to fly me back. It was a free trip. I'm all for it.
Good plan. Good plan.
I'm all for it. And they paid me $1,000 to self-deport. It was a lovely vacation. I went to Punta Cana. It was all inclusive.
So I'm going to out you. I'm going to out you on this, by the way.
You're out me?
Yes, I'm going to out you, Johnny. But I'm shocked at your position. Your last name is Lopez, and you say that publicly. So I'm asking. Wait. So how can you say that? Seeing that Latinos who are here legally, including DACA, there are DACA people who are here legally who are in Alligator Alcatraz. Right? I read that this morning. So
if ICE is snagging up U.S. citizens who have gone through the proper channels, those people should be released, apologized to. Maybe there should be some compensation.
Absolutely.
I don't know how you can be a part of a party that turns its back and allows 8, 10, 12 million over the border, most of whom came to, can I finish? Most of whom came to California. And then when folks say, hey, this is illegal, this is not how borders work, this is not how countries work, you must leave, and they don't leave, and we bring in the federal police to gather them up. I don't know how suddenly now there's outrage. Was there no outrage?
Because here's why there's outrage. Here's the answer to why there's outrage. One, you're having people who are yanked out this country who shouldn't be yanked out. Two, hang on a second. Wrong. Two, and more, the most important thing is without due process. It doesn't matter if you're born here or not. If you're on American soil, you are entitled to due process. And if what they're doing is so right, why in the hell are they masked?
They're masked because folks we're taking pictures of them,
and they need to have their picture taken.
Yeah, they should have. So again, so what?
So wait, those same people were against the masks during COVID, but now all of a sudden no COVID and they're wearing a mask. So I don't understand this government. But I will say this, Johnny, I agree with you about the border. I'm a very liberal Democrat. I do not want people coming over here illegally. I don't think anybody does want that. No. I don't want them using resources. I don't want any of that stuff. And yeah, I really do think that the Biden administration was way too lax. There's no argument for me on that. And I agree with you 100%. Where I disagree with you, where you just said we should apologize to these people, is when they're showing up at their mandated court appearances. They're doing everything they're supposed to do. They have legal asylum claims or whatever claims they've got, and they're being ambushed in courtrooms. Come on, and
sent to concentration camps.
Where should you get? I mean, I understand. Well, how does this process work smoothly? Do you?
What do you mean they were doing it in front of Home Depots before? Go back to the Home Depot.
The lion's share of these people coming over, the lion's share of these people heading over are not criminals. They're not troublemakers. They're working. They're making massive, massive impacts on our yearly tax revenue.
They're paying the social.
Hold on. And they were actually here first. It's not called California because some white guys discovered it. It's not San Francisco. It's not San Diego. This was Mexican territory. And now we're treating them like, oh, you're all bad. You're all wrong. That's not a good layout.
Do you know why I got to pay $19 for a Big Mac at McDonald's? Because they're hiring white people.
So if you come in illegally, but you're working, then you shouldn't be asked to go home and then come back legally because you're work. So if you break the law to do something, then that's something you're doing.
No, I agree with you.
I don't think that's what the argument is. I
don't think the argument is that. I think we agree with you. If you break the law, you got to go.
I think the argument here was this, and that is the lie that they're sucking up resources because they're putting way more. And there's study after study that showed they put more into the economy than they take out. They're paying Social Security, Johnny, that they will never be.
I don't think any of this matters. I don't think
it absolutely matters.
Do we have borders? Yes.
Yes.
If people come across illegal and we don't know who they are and where they're from and what they're doing, is that a way to run a country?
No, of course not. Of course not.
And then if you ask them to leave or tell them to, and they don't leave, and then you round them up and it doesn't go smoothly, suddenly we're racist monsters.
No, Johnny. Hold on. Let me say, hang on, guys.
Let me just agreed with you and said, send them back.
No, wait, stop. So I can stop for a second. All right. There are two things that you are just completely glossing over. One is due process. They are, if they're asked to leave and they don't leave, they still are entitled to due process. You have to put them in front of a judge. You don't throw them on a plane and send them to Libya where they are, or to Iran or some other place that they have not even a country of origin. And that's what they're doing. You don't put them in a concentration camp. I mean, that's what the issue is here, and that's why it is racist monsters. And the fact that you have people, Republicans who were behind ICE and back on this, who are actually saying we are profiling brown people. If you have a problem with it, too bad. Who've actually come out and said the words, said the quiet part out loud.
How could you not? Who are the majority? First of all, the majority of people are coming up through the southern border. So how could they not be brown? So if you even took
Johnny, your last name is Lopez. Your last name is Lopez, and if I didn't know it, I would see a white man. You don't have to worry about being profiled.
Did it come over the border legally? Did that Chihuahua come over legally, Johnny?
I don't have. Who did what? Wait, I didn't catch it.
Did your Chihuahua come over legally? I just saw Chihuahua.
Hold on.
Chihuahua.
That's a Chihuahua for you.
You.
You guys are going to let me do a spit take.
Just let me. This has been mentioned 3 times, so I'll have to reply to this. The reason people in South and Central America, who, by the way, were never Mexicans, they were first people who came over from northeastern Europe thousands of years ago. And there were variety of dozens, if not hundreds, of different tribes of whatever. Their origin was not the United States or this North American continent. And then for a while, my people came over. Spanish people. My uncles and aunts and grandparents came from Spain, Madrid, and
all Mexican people say they're Spanish.
I have no.
Yeah, that's right. They all do.
I've never met a Mexican in California. Everybody's Spanish.
And you know what the joke is, and I'm sure you've heard that. You know what a Spaniard is? A Mexican with $200.
Yeah. I know
that was the old joke. It's a racist joke.
I know you guys all went to public schools, but let me help you a little bit.
I didn't go to public school.
Let me help you a little bit. I have, for better or worse, I have absolutely no genetic lineage whatsoever. What happened was when my ancestors sailed up on boats 400 or 500 years ago, they were speaking zillions of different languages. Nobody was communicating properly with, well, not nobody, but most weren't. My ancestors 500 years ago were, for a brief time, the dominant force, and Spanish, the language of the Spaniards of Spain, that language took over. My ancestors came directly from Spain to the United. Well, they went to Hawaii first, Chile. So
Nina, the Pinta, or the Santa Maria. Just get to it.
That's Columbus, for God's sake. I do a joke in my stand-up.
Columbus came from Spain.
I explain this to people and they don't get it. And I say,
why did you go? That was Columbus. Columbus came from Spain.
For God's sake, Queen Isabella paid for the voyage.
Thank you.
Columbus wasn't Spanish. Your name can't end in an S.
Literally the first cruise ship.
The point is, anybody who looks
guys are killing me.
Spanish is suspect now too.
And that's the whole
He
thing.
came through the East Coast, not the West. But anyway, those folks that are there did not come through the East, from across the Atlantic Ocean on boats. They came from over the Siberian Pass.
Bottom line here is, Johnny, do you think that Billy Bob MAGA in Mississippi, who hears the name John Lopez, is going to care that 4 generations or 5 generations ago your ancestors came from Spain, or are they going to just assume that you are one of those people who needs to be thrown in alligator Alcatraz?
And that's fine.
That's what profiling is.
I will show him my father's.
They don't care, but they don't care. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand.
Be ignorant. Here's the deal. Are you from this land? Yes. Here's my driver's license. Here's my passport. Here's my father's birth certificate.
They're still
not doing due diligence.
Why would you? First of all, before we even get to due process, why would you even? I've been stopped twice by ICE here, and you know what my response has been? Fuck off. You don't have a right to ask me the question. I'm not under suspicion of anything. You have no way of articulating a crime I've committed to even stop to ask me the question. So fuck off.
So then on that, how would I ask you a question? How would you guys go about Brian's due process? And I don't know the law with regard to folks coming who are not documented aliens, but how would you folks?
Excuse me, immigrants, not aliens. They're not from outer space. You
first have to get them off of the streets, right? You can't just hope they'll come in. They're not going to come in. They
are coming in. Some of them are coming in and then being arrested.
There's 35 or 40 million by some estimates.
They're so scared.
How many are coming in out of the tens of millions?
I know, and now more don't want to come in because if they show up, they get arrested.
Oh God, no! So go to this. Just go to the White House website, and there's an app you can download on your phone, and you tell them I'm here illegally. I don't want to be rousted up, and they will come to you. They will bring you. They will give you all the paperwork and everything you need to do. You don't get to
Johnny.
look it up.
Johnny,
and you don't.
You're talking about.
Well, let me finish because someone's going to misinterpret. You don't get to stay here, but they set you up. And now there are millions of people waiting in line from China, from other countries, who are going through the process, who are filling out the forms, who are paying the roughly $1,000 minimum it takes to go through all this. What of them? What of the people standing in line obeying the law?
Okay, now here's my question to you. You say all you got to do is go to the White House website. Wow, are you on fentanyl?
I
do you understand what the White House
know.
website is not worth a shit? The White House website.
I can't be sure it's why, but I did read an article on there is a way for you to say. There's a way for you to say.
It's an app. It's an app, and it's a self-deporting app.
Yes, it's a self-deporting app. You say, I'm here.
It's an app, and the government's supposed to give you $1,000. There's not a single person that's received their $1,000.
Yeah, I don't think they give you $1,000 necessarily.
That's
in
what
this
they're
particular thing, what happens is they don't. You are put on the track to apply for citizenship the proper way that so many people seem to be able to do. That's all.
Let me ask you a question. I'm sorry to keep bringing heritage in, but just because of the position you're taking.
We get to just Maxwell.
In your entire life, and I think you're about 3 years older than I am. In your entire life, how many times have you been stopped by the police or hassled by the police because your last name is Lopez?
Well, they wouldn't know that my name was Lopez if they were stopping me. So I don't understand the question fully.
Okay.
No one's gonna stop me and say, "Hey, is your name Lopez?" So,
I mean, once they found out if they saw a license or whatever. Well, I mean, have you ever in your life had to deal with any kind of discrimination, any kind of police harassment, anything at all because your last name is Lopez?
No, because they would say your tail lights burned out or this or that. And then I would say, I'm sorry, officer. And they would say, is this your current address? And I'd say, yeah, what do you do? I go to college here or I work there. And they'd say, get the light fixed. Here's a ticket. And that's how it ended.
Okay.
Always.
Now, let me ask you.
How about because you were gay?
Yeah, why are you pulling me over? No.
Oh my Lord!
So wait, what was the point of your question?
Well, my point is this, and it's like, yeah, just a hard line in the position that you're taking about, especially when it comes to profiling. It's something that you will never ever have to deal with because of how it is that you look. That it doesn't matter what your name is or what your last name is, based upon how it is that you look. And so to say that that you don't have a problem with, if they haven't done anything, all they just say I'm sorry, or I'll fix it or whatever else. That's not an option that you would have if your last name's name's Lopez, and you look like the stereotype of what somebody would expect when they heard somebody's name was Lopez. That's all I'm saying.
When that happened to me, if that was who I was and they happened to me, I would say, "No, officer, my grandfather came here, blah, blah, blah. Here's my driver's license."
They don't care.
They're not doing due process. They're sending you away.
That's it,
If
Johnny.
you don't have any identification or
no,
you're fine.
with ID. There are a couple of stories of guys
woman just arrested with ID.
with identification.
real ID.
Again, back to my earlier point, there are literally tens of millions of undocumented people from not just Central and South America.
And I
but
don't
from
buy
all
that
over.
number, by the way. I don't think that
one
number's
American being deported by accident. Isn't that enough for you
They
to
said
say
8 to
no?
14 for over the those are, you can look those numbers up. They vary by 4 million people, but
There used to be a saying years and years and years ago. I would rather see 1,000 guilty people go free than one innocent person incarcerated. What happened to that?
And well, here's what happened. Was that the right flipped it around to say, yeah, but that one person is going to kill 25 people. That one person that went free. And let me give you another example. That's
just a thing called false dichotomy in debate. You don't either have to have either. Frankly, there's room in between. Just to clear that up.
I've got friends.
Either ors or false dichotomies, and I don't accept.
I've got friends who came here. I used to have them periodically come on radio with me, who came here illegally from Canada. And the way they came here was they came on a student visa. They got married, came on a student visa, and just overstayed the visa. They just never, did what they were supposed to do. And she is a beautiful, statuesque blonde with blue eyes, and he looks like Tom Cruise. And they were here illegally for something like 15 years. They worked in the restaurant industry. She talked about working in kitchens where it was primarily Latinos, and there would be days when the managers would just come in and say, "We're not going to pay you. Who are you going to tell? Go ahead and call him," but never her. And nobody ever harassed her. She was never stopped. She was never asked. Nothing. She took jobs from Americans. She took American services. Now they found a way. They found an investor, so they were able to get in on some kind of a business investment visa or something. And now they're restaurateurs and are legal residents. I don't think they're citizens. They're legal residents, but they've done very well. But the bottom line here is, let's boil this down to what this is. I mean, nobody's going after all of the people who are white people who come here illegally or who come here legally and stay here and who do take, go ahead.
By design, it's a racial profiling dynamic. That's what it is, plain and simple. And they're trying to scoot it over slowly but surely into the Haitian and the Egyptian communities so they'll be able to roll up on any Black person and say, prove it.
Yeah, but Egyptians. I'm kidding.
And Dominish, for sure. And I've been told sometimes that I look Egyptian to some extent. So who knows how far they're going to push it over based on the racial profiling dynamic.
You do walk like an Egyptian. You do.
I dance like an Egyptian.
I knew you were going to go there.
So just for the hell of it, I just if I can offer a comment to that. In recent years, this is AI, which you can love it or not love it. In recent years, nearly 70% of unauthorized immigrants in the United States originate from Mexico and Central America, with an additional 12% from South America. This means that a total combined 80% of unauthorized immigrants come from these regions.
No, you were right. You got it right.
But Johnny, if you also read the small print underneath that, it says ChatGPT makes mistakes. Please verify all information.
Yeah. But ChatGPT also immediately scans every article on the subject and gives you a ballpark assessment of what it is.
Based on what you've been searching for. And if you're a right-wing fanatic, it searches those sites and spits that out.
Definitely double check it, but that's what they
Let me do it. What was the question you asked ChatGPT?
Basically, what percentage of illegal undocumented immigrants in the United States come from Central, South America, or Mexico?
Okay, let me ask you this. So let's say that the number's right.
How would it be different? I mean, I don't understand why we're disputing this. Why would it be different? Let's of maple syrup.
Let's say that it's accurate. Let's say that it's accurate because it may very well be
20% off. And then 60% or 70%.
So are you saying therefore that the same scrutiny should not be applied? to those who come from or were here illegally from Canada or from other places where they don't have facial features or physical features that would immediately identify them as being non-white. That they shouldn't be have the same enforcement.
Absolutely. Anybody who comes into the country illegally, knowing it's illegal to do so,
but they come legally. Johnny, and they stay.
If they come legally, then it's illegal. Your visa, your student visa, your work visa it's a contract.
What was that saying?
Is this the question? Is this the question, basically?
Yes, basically.
All right. So let me send it and we'll see what she says.
Yeah. I mean, even if this is off by 20%, let's see, 68% of unauthorized immigrants are from Mexico and Central America, with another 9% from South America, putting this figure at exactly what I said 5 minutes ago.
All right. Okay. So again, does that justify no due process? Does that justify justify profiling? That's stopping people, pulling people over simply because they happen to share the same physical characteristics as people who came here.
See, once again, you're presenting a false scenario.
No, I'm not. It's not a false scenario. Johnny, that's my problem with it. It's not a problem. That's my problem with it.
Are there particular neighborhoods? Are there in particular industries? Do they not speak English? Of course. Here's just one. If I could offer one other note, just real quick, I'll be one sentence long. Nobody is more exploited in America than undocumented immigrants. They're the leading victim in sex trade trafficking. They're the leading victim
women.
People making $12 an hour and working 60-hour weeks and have no benefits. It's actually very true.
And may not get paid, and still may not even get that.
Get paid.
I'm not going to dispute that. But see the position that you're taking, as I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the same position I'm hearing from those who are advocates of what's going on right now. And that is that if you are complaining about concentration camps, and Alcatraz is by the definition in the Oxford Dictionary of a concentration camp, and they're building more of them. So if you're opposed to that, if you're opposed to profiling based upon people's physical characteristics, if you're opposed to people being grabbed off the street and not given a hearing or due process, if you are opposed to them being taken to a different country without due process, and a country that they have not even any origin with, that means you're in favor of illegal immigration. And that's not it. And that's not what it is that I'm saying. It's not necessarily what they're doing. It's how they're doing it. I'm not saying that I want a flood of undocumented people here. There needs to be a process, but it's got to be orderly and it's got to be constitutional.
Sure. So let me present a scenario. After 9/11, we were very strict at airports, and we were attacked by 19 Arab Muslims, mostly from Saudi Arabia, between the ages of 22 and I think 40 or something like that. And then what we started doing in the airports with our precious time and money was pulling people out randomly from lines. Hawaiian ladies, for example, an elderly 74-year-old grandma. Was that a good use of time and money? Was that what we should have done at that point? Were those the people who had committed the atrocities on 9/11?
Well, here's the thing, and my position at the time was exactly what your position is until I used to host a show for ABC in San Francisco, afternoon show called 7 Live, and we had on the head of security for SFO because there had been an incident where there was a 4-year-old who was pulled out of line at random and was searched and frisked and the whole thing, and everybody went crazy. And I said, is there any universe in which this was reasonable? And here's what he said. Yes, because there was at least one case of a white woman who had a white child who had a Middle Eastern boyfriend who belonged to Al Qaeda, and she didn't know it. They'd been together for a couple of years. Sure. She was flying home to see family with her son, and her boyfriend gave a teddy bear to her son as a present so he wouldn't be scared on the flight. And he was one that got pulled aside, and they checked him, and that teddy bear was chock full of explosives. And when the plane hit a certain altitude, everybody would have gone. So looking at it that way, it's like, because initially I thought the same thing you did.
Sure, but young boys with the teddy bear full of explosives shoved in their bag were not the majority of people who at that time were committing assaults on American and Western interests abroad. So, yeah, I mean, there's a place where that happened, and there's a lot of money spent pulling all sorts of people out who almost certainly had nothing to do with it.
But they most likely, almost certainly, we can check into this. The lion's share of who they pulled out fit a racial profile.
And let me just say this: when I was 20 years old, I had an ass stuffed full of heroin. Big deal.
All right, here's a question.
Wait,
and fess up.
Wait, we had four other questions.
Well, no, I
gotta go. I got an appointment here.
I know you gotta go. I just gotta ask this question, and I want you to tell me the truth. All right, back in, let's say, the 80s, so it's a long time ago. Back in the days when pot was illegal, I'm assuming you were a road comic, and at some point you were a road comic, weren't you? Did you ever shove a baggie of weed in your crotch and get on a plane?
I literally just said I stuffed heroin up my ass. Why would I?
I thought you were joking. No, you were serious.
Yes.
I thought
you were joking. You were serious.
I thought that heroin tasted funny.
But I'll tell you this too. Back in the 80s, when I was on the road, club owners used to say, "Do you want to be paid in cash or coke?"
Or sometimes, no. I went to one club in Midville, Utah, and the guy said,
"I played that club.
Here's $1,000 in cash, and here's the other 500
Here's some other dry goods."
I said, "No, I don't want a Coke. I want my money." He said, "How could you not want Coke? All the ladies in the lobby, how could you not? You're joking, right? You don't want the Coke? Okay, I'll give you cash if you want."
Here's how you can tell that we've started growing up and getting older. I played a club in Arizona, one of the famous brand clubs, and the owner of that club offered to pay me in cash or steak meat. That's where we've gone. That's how you can tell you become old, when they're like, "Oh, that motherfucker doesn't do coke anymore, but he still eats."
He's still.
And I took the ribeye. I was like, "I'll take half ribeye."
All right, I'm going to switch topics real quick before we run out of time.
Yeah.
Two non, because that was pretty heated. So two non-heated topics. Article in Market Watch today, according to Toast, which is a company that provides restaurant payment systems, in the second quarter 2025, tips at full-service restaurants have dropped from 20% to 19.1%, and they're falling. They're saying that right after the pandemic, people were tipping higher because they wanted to take care of restaurant workers, but now it's dropping, and they expect it to drop more, and the article is saying that 15% is going to be the new 20%.
Nope.
So my question to you is, I have two questions. I guess the first question is whether or not you think that that this is accurate, first of all. And second of all, do you think that people have tip fatigue? Because I'm tired of being asked to tip for shit I shouldn't have to put something in me. I paid you a fortune to dry clean my jacket. Now you got a cup out for me to put money in?
Have a cup. I'm a serial over tipper. Everybody tells me not a great idea, but having been in the food service industry early in my career, having been homeless and knowing just a little extra could always help, I'm always out to give a minimum. You have to give really bad service for me not to give 20%.
Yeah, me too.
And if it's outstanding, I'm going to give 25. And sometimes on the way out, I'll stack another cash boom on top of that. Got to be giving on this planet. You can't be just all receiving it. That amount of money you give out in tips doesn't impact you really, really at the end of the day.
So do you tip every jar? You put money in? I saw a tip jar at the self checkout. When you come out of the
shitter, Brian, and there's a guy in the bathroom wanting a tip from you, fuck that.
No, totally. He gets one for sure.
And no tax joke on tips, I have lowered what I'm tipping because of no tax on tips. I'm lowering what I'm tipping, number one. And number two, most restaurants now add a surcharge to the check. If
they do have like an 18% surcharge.
Yeah. You know what? You're not getting any tip.
I try to be mindful of that. I don't often put it on top of that.
Right. So I don't like that. Tipping is not compulsory. It's gratuitous. So when a restaurant's telling me I'm adding 18% to your bill, fuck you. And I argue and I go, take it off or I'm not paying this bill. And you want to know what?
Too far.
They don't have a legal leg
Don's
to
not
stand
having
on.
it.
They have to remove it. Yes, it happens every time they remove it.
No, it's not. It's not okay. Those people really need that money. They need it, and you absolutely have it.
All right, Johnny.
I think if I can say that, I think Brian was presenting a slightly different scenario. That maybe the waitress comes to your table 14 times in an hour and fills your water glass and tells you about the specials. Maybe that's fine, but when you go, in his case, to dry cleaner, but you'll go to a counter and order a burrito. The guy rings it up, grabs a Coke in the machine right behind you, turns it around and wants 18, 22, or 25%. His feet never left the space they were standing in. I don't know.
I always hit no tip. They do it at Starbucks every morning.
You guys are all very professional comedians in your own right. Don's in the story world and TV, and you've got all sorts of things. We all got things going. But I did a gig a while back where they didn't want a cover charge. And I said, well, I will not perform in a room without a cover charge. And they said, well, here's what we do. We sell dinners. And the show is free. And I said, no, free. It's included with the dinner. And I said, okay, I'll do that show. So we sold out 80 seats in the East Bay, and people came in. And a friend of mine who's a musician says, where's the tip jar? And I said, well, we're professional comedians. I'm not doing a tip jar. They paid. He said, they didn't pay crap for the show, or they don't think they paid crap for the show. Put the tip jar. I'm not putting the tip jar. Put it up and see it. Put the tip jar. $420. $430. Now I'm walking around with
divide that by 80. That's not that much.
I'm here now.
Well, I'll tell you the worst one that I've seen. That's just it galls me that I can't go to the grocery store and find more than one check stand open. They're all closed because they want you to either stand in this long ass line or do self checkout. And so I've seen at the self checkout at a couple of stores a tip jar. So who the hell am I tipping? I'm checking myself out. I'm ringing up my own groceries. I'm bagging the stuff myself. Who am I tipping?
Oh, no, the tip jar. You're supposed to take something out, Brian.
Which store is this? Well, we all know this.
Its initials are Safeway.
From your first day, your first class in economics, there is a point, though, with all of this where a certain number of people say, I'm not going to go there anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'm sometimes like, you want to go get a burrito? Okay, we do this, we do that. We sit down, 10% tax, 5% tip. And the next thing you know, 2 burritos and 2 drinks cost $74. I'll just stop off, wherever at the Trader Joe's and grab a bean burrito. There is a place where it's just first semester economic, where the cost hits a place where fewer people buy the thing or fewer people will use the service. And then everyone gets hurt again. So that is and what we're
Johnny, that literally just came out in the news yesterday where McDonald's, the CEO of McDonald's during their earnings release said, our numbers are down because we've raised our prices too much. People are just stopping going. I'll make a burger at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think people are stopping going because they're not that good.
Because it's nasty. Just because it's nasty.
I love their
those
fries.
people have died.
Their
those
fries
people
are
have died from complications owing to cardiovascular disease. That's why they're not.
Whatever it is, their fries are delicious. But
all right, last topic before we run out of time, and that is I saw this in the Hollywood Reporter today, a story on late night, and they have a quote from somebody who says that late night, by the way, will be 71 years old this fall. It'll be 71 years since Pat Weaver created the Tonight Show with Steve Allen. And the quote is that late night is dying and we're better off with acceptance than denial. So in light of the fact that they canceled Colbert, even though Colbert is number one, Colbert was still losing millions of dollars every single year. None of those shows are making money. Viewing habits have changed. I can't tell you the last time I sat down and watched and I love late night. I mean, I'll look at the clips and I'll see on YouTube and whatnot, the segments that I want to see. I can't tell you the last time that I sat down and watched beginning from monologue to good night, a late night show. I can't tell you. So do you think that that's right? Do you think that late night is dying?
100%. 100%. And as someone who's done almost all of the late night shows, I'll tell you what I'm noticing. You got these kids that don't need it anymore. They go on TikTok. They do these Instagram little things. They're releasing clips of their own now. They don't need late night. Late night used to be a springboard for comedians. It used to be a springboard for actors to promote their latest projects and stuff. Mm-hmm. You had to stay up till 11:30 at night. We used to get a preview of who was going to be on that night, and it would be a thing. I don't have to do that anymore. Now I can go to your Facebook page, Brian, or your Instagram or your TikTok, and I can look to see what you're doing. And I can follow you. I don't even have to go. You will notify me of what you're doing.
It's either he's completely right, and there's another factor in there. Kids grew up watching what they want, when they want, generally without commercials.
On their schedule.
I used to watch Saturday Night Live when I'd come home from a gig to see what was happening, what topics, and you'd watch the first, the cold opening and live from New York and the monologue. You go to a break and you come back in a couple sketches, and then they'd have a band at 11:55, and then it would be commercial breaks every sketch. There were endless commercial breaks after. It was maddening to watch. So I don't think they want to watch what they want to watch when they want to watch it, and they don't want to be interrupted every 3 minutes by some dumb commercials that don't apply to them. At least on the internet, the algorithms probably give them products they want to be advertised to mostly.
Let me ask
looked at the Tonight Show.
And it filters out the commercials.
So let's give Don a shot because Don was the warm up. How many years were you the warm up for Leno?
5 years, over 1,000 episodes. I was the audience warm up, and the thing is, it's sad to see it go. It's kind of sad, and all those are facts. But we did 200 plus episodes a year. And so I think the first chess move should be maybe cut down on the number of episodes and then, splinter out the clips to still keep it somewhat relevant. But I know it can't be sustained at 200 plus episodes every year. They're going to all go completely down rather than cutting back first, which would be a wise move.
And with regard to what Don's saying.
And when you got kids out there who can make clips that garner 6, 8, 10 million views in a week, and Kimmel can't get those with his clips, and he spent billions to create those clips, and these kids did it on their phone in their garage. Yeah. You can't. How do you compete with that? They're getting more views.
And then along with
all the more reason to lower it.
What Don was saying, they're also just, when I was a kid, there was the Tonight Show with Carson, then came Letterman, then came Arsenio, then came whoever was next, and then came Ferguson. All of a sudden, there were 4 or 5 shows on doing nightly shows, and you're just watering down. It's the same format. Hey, come on out, do a few jokes. Hey, how about a hand for the band? Sit down, compare and contrast, Karnak this, top 10 that, go to a break, come back. Pretty starlet in a miniskirt in a movie. It was so cookie cutter, textbook, paint by numbers.
Everyone was the same.
I just grew tired of it, and then the commercials, and nobody wants our demographic. As I look around the room, I mean, everyone's very upset about racial discrimination, as they should be. No one cares about age discrimination, partly because the core demographic, whatever it is, consumer products. I mean, Brian or someone, you guys might say, well, what about buying BMWs or going on cruises in Europe or what? Sure, that's an older crowd, but the economy is fueled by people running out and spending $250 for jeans or $8 for some kind of rock star.
I have seen my share of reverse mortgage ads. And I believe Tom Selleck. I don't think Tom Selleck would lie to me. That's Maggie.
He wouldn't lie to you.
He wouldn't lie to me.
I love that. That's what your algorithm shows me. Mine's showing me depends. Adult diapers, and I'm literally only months away from that.
All right, let me ask you this. It's a real big deal, and this actually fits in 2 ways in terms of what's going out and also age discrimination. It's a big deal that Kathy Bates at 70. What is she, 72? Got nominated for Best Actress for Matlock. And I got to tell you, I watched it on a lark. I didn't even like the original Matlock.
I love it.
And I love that show. That is one of my favorite shows on TV. All right. So, the fact that she's, the oldest ever, and it's a broadcast show, and broadcast shows never get nominated for Emmys ever. Not since Stringer. Right. They never
I don't watch it on broadcast. I watch it on an app.
I watch
My Time.
I watch it recorded on YouTube.
Exactly
TV.
What Johnny just said. I watch it on My Time on an app, and I have ad guard on my phone that deletes the commercials. I don't even have to watch the commercials.
Most shows I can't tell you when. Most shows I watch, I can't tell you when they come on. I can't tell you the day they're on.
Yeah, right.
Except for Law and Order, I know it's Thursday. I mean that's it. So
I
watch
the question it on Hulu the next day.
The next day. All right. So let me ask you this question: and do you think that broadcast television in general is on the way out?
Oh,
or is
yeah.
it already out? Is it already? But what happens
If they
then?
don't find a way to become relevant again and tap into what younger people are looking for and craving, they're doomed.
Well,
Here's another important number. Here's another very important number. I worked in the advertising and promotion division at NBC for a couple of years in the voiceover and creating promos for Friends, Frasier, ER, all those shows. When we got $3 billion, we were in the hallways with champagne from the upfronts, from Mercedes-Benz, Colgate, Taco Bell. At the top of the year, the upfronts, we get $3 billion and we were going crazy. Last year's revenue from Netflix was $33 billion.
Wow.
No competition whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's all
I
subscription.
remember, and Don, my favorite weeks during television were always sweeps, because that's the only time TV ever put anything good out.
Anything
was
good on.
sweeps weeks.
Yeah.
That was
They were
it.
going all out. Yeah.
Yep. February sweeps. They went all out. And I'm like, wow, why can't TV be like this all year?
Well, here's another example, and that is, you guys probably too. I grew up on AM radio. I mean, and then when you get a little bit older, FM was risky, and they want to take AM out of cars, and because nobody listens to AM, nobody listens to radio anymore.
Yeah.
But
I was gonna say, you have a radio in your car still? I drive a Rivian and I don't have a radio.
I should mention, by the way, I'm going to toot my own horn. I was just voted into the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame.
Oh, good for you.
Nice. Congratulations.
I'm being inducted in October. But
One of
I
four
grew up
black men, right?
Pardon?
One of four black men,
One of
right?
four.
Ever.
Mm-hmm. One of four
Right.
ever.
Let me guess. Ray Taliaferro, you.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Who was the guy at KMEL years ago?
Don St. John is one, and Rosie Allen.
I got three. I got three at least of the four.
The four, yeah. So, but the thing is, though, is that AM, there's a whole lobby to try to get Congress not to take AM out of cars. But all it is, it's angry right wingers bitching is all AM radio is anymore. And if you're lucky, you can catch a Giants game or catch a sporting event.
But your son is in the sporting world and radio, right?
Yeah.
I read a few years ago, the only thing that's going to survive or keep radio live is sports, because everything else we're doing, like this podcast, you can listen to tomorrow, next week, or next year. If you want to hear how the Cal Bears are doing, well, I have season tickets. I can tell you how they're doing. They suck. But if you want to see how the Cal Bears are doing and you can't be at the ballpark, you've got to listen to the radio right now.
But here's the thing. Here's what I found out I got from my kid. And that is that every major league team has their own podcast streaming app, whatever it is.
Yeah,
so that you can listen directly. So you can get around radio and listen to the Baltimore Orioles game if you're a fan.
Sure.
So I guess the question is, I don't see AM radio coming back. I don't know how it does. And I think that's probably what's going to happen to broadcast TV. I'm sorry to say.
They canceled Sesame Street. They're not stopping. They canceled Sesame Street. They defunded Mr. Snuffleupagus.
Yes, they did.
Whom of us would have guessed? Maybe you guys would have guessed, but I wouldn't have guessed 20 years ago when all this started happening, right? It was in the early, what year was that, 2012 or something? Facebook and all the rest started happening. So, and beyond, I would never have guessed that this was going to wipe out newspapers, magazines, local radio, local TV, late night TV. It's actually been a bloodbath of what tech. I mean, I guess you wouldn't say it wiped it out. It's morphed into something else. But yeah, all the stuff that we got in our
pretty good. Wiped it out's pretty good. Look, AI is going to get rid of us because it can create talking. I don't believe that. Talking.
Brian,
you want to know what?
Brian
I take
Copeland
Gemini and Chat GPT, put them next to each other, and put it on voice, and they talk to each other. They do.
I'm a novelist.
Try it.
I use it for research.
You do, but when the minute they figure out how to get rid of us, they will. No need.
Well, let me just, we don't want to go back to politics, but because I got to run, you guys probably too. But the one really bad thing about all of this is there was once a time, and people are going to scream, it's corporate, it's whatever. But there was a time when national news had integrity and tried to find the true story and didn't look for throwing red meat to its worst viewers. Mm-hmm. And it was whether it was Walter Cronkite or whoever it was over the years. And now what's happened is most of the media, you've got Reuters and a bunch of others in the middle if you look at the chart, but mostly it's out further and further. And what happens is the money now in those mediums is, TV, radio, whatever it is, or streaming. It's in telling the people what they already want to know. And the internet does that. Facebook does that. YouTube does that. As soon as you click on 2 or 3 left-wing or right-wing videos, that's all it gives you. Yeah. And so you're not really hearing the other story at all. No. You're not hearing it. And then we go into our tribes, and then anybody who comes in who shares a different opinion is othered and outed. And this is, I think, part of what's got us here. It's not othered or outed. It's that they're wrong.
No, yeah, well, there you go.
No argument. I'm gonna leave you with this. On the same token. This will be last. I will leave you with this. I saw Superman last night. I saw Superman. I've seen it for the 3rd time. I've seen it. That's how much I love that movie. And I'm thinking. I'm watching this movie. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll buy the fact that he's from another planet. I'll buy the fact that he flies. I'll buy the fact that nobody recognizes him in glasses. What I won't buy is that he works for a newspaper and that people read it. And that there's a scene where Hot Girl is sitting on the couch looking through the paper. She's like 26 and she's looking through the paper. It's like, stop it.
But the super dog you bought, no problem, which ended up being my favorite character.
My favorite character,
super dog, you did not have a problem with that?
Not one at all. No.
His glasses, by the way, are explained away because they're special glasses that make his appearance look different to everybody else.
They're hypno glasses. They're hypno glasses.
So they explain that, which I liked.
Well, here's the thing that most people don't know. You probably know if you've seen it a couple times. You know that's not a dog. It's all CGI.
It's all CGI, yeah.
It's crypto's not real.
You can tell, though. You could tell.
See, I looked, and I couldn't tell. The first time I didn't know. Last 2 times I looked, and I couldn't tell.
You did not know? When was the last time you saw a dog fly, Brian? Exactly.
Well, it's
that they're reading the paper.
I'm mistaken.
It's the line in the sand for you with the flying dog. I didn't know that was CGI.
It's when pigs fly. It's not when dogs fly.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I got to run. I have a 2:30.
All right. We all got to run real fast. Anything you want to plug? Ant, anything you want to plug, man?
No, I've just had a great time here. Let's not cheapen it.
Okay. Come back, please.
I would love to. You asked me and I'll be back.
All right. Right on. Don?
JohnnySteele.com. We never know when folks are watching this at JohnnySteele.com. I got Punchline. I got Rooster Teeth Feathers. I got comedy competition winner shows. I got all sorts of new projects I'm screwing with. My fancy new website is beautiful. I could never have afforded it, but my friend did it and a girlfriend did it. And so check out the new website. A lot of fun stuff.
I've looked at it. It's a great website. But
yeah, she's incredible.
theants.com.
There you go. Come on.
Yeah, she's absolutely. Stacey Messerschmidt is incredible with graphics.
Yeah.
She did the graphics for my flagship spot, Redwood Nights, Storytelling Under the Stars in Marin, Fairfax. We're starting in the Berkeley Hills as well as on Mare Island at Redwood Empire Distillery for the indoor shows. And L.A.
When are the dates? When are the dates? You didn't give them.
The dates are just about every Wednesday, every other Wednesday. And we'll be coming down to LA, likely to the Redwood Room in Malibu. So
that'd be nice.
Interlinking the pieces.
Try to schedule it between fires.
Yeah.
If at all possible.
Stacy came with me to a Brian Copeland gig. We were just hanging out at the time, and she came to my New Year's gig with you. And after she turned me in that car and said, with gigs like this, you need a better website. And I said, hey, wait a minute. Copeland's an old friend. Come on now. Look at your face. You're not sure how to take it.
Yeah, I don't know how to take it either. All right, Ed, Don Reed, Johnny Steele. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys all soon.
Thanks so much, you guys.
All right,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for watching.
Good to see you,
watching. Thank you for listening. If you want to support the show, please do. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us. If you're listening to us, give us a 5-star review. It helps people find the show. Like, share, tell everybody. We'll check you out next week. Be kind to your neighbor. He knows where you live.